Okay, so today we're walking through the distributive property. Now the distributive property is basically a way to get rid of parentheses when you're trying to simplify an expression and combine like terms. So if you ever see anything in the format where you have a number on the outside of parentheses, what you actually have to do is take that number and multiply it by each term inside the parentheses. Now I teach my students to use the double rainbow. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's look at an example. If I have 2 times x plus y, my double rainbow states that I'm going to take the 2 and multiply it by the x to get 2x. And then I'm going to take the 2 and create a double rainbow, and I'm going to multiply it by this sign and this term. So I'm going to multiply 2 times a positive y, which just gives me a positive 2y. Okay, so basically what did I do? I took that 2 and I did a double rainbow. I was sure to multiply it by both terms inside the parentheses. So let's take a look at one where you have basically 2 parentheses of this format. So how do we put this together and actually simplify? So again, you're going to use your double rainbow. So I'm going to start with the 3 and I'm going to multiply it by the 2x to get 6x. And now I'm going to take the 3 and again, here's my double rainbow, multiply it by a positive 1. So 3 times a positive 1 is just a positive 3. Plus, and now again, double rainbow, 2 times x is 2x. And then 2 times a positive 1 is a plus 2. And now I have one expression, no parentheses, and I can combine my like terms, right? So I have 6x and 2x that can combine to be 8x, and then the 3 and the 2 can be combined to just a plus 5. And so this entire long expression simplifies down to just 8x plus 5. Let's look at one where you might not intuitively think that this would be something that you have to do a double rainbow, but I'm going to teach you something that will always make you pause. For the rest of your mathematical career, I want you to think of me when you see a negative and a parentheses. So negative or a subtraction sign and parentheses. It's like pause, pause, pause. Michelle always has to pause. And I say this because there's really an imaginary 1 here. And you have to take that negative and multiply that negative 1 and multiply it by every term inside the parentheses. So in this case, we're going to do negative 1 times 4, which is just a negative 4. And then we're going to take the negative 1 and multiply it by the positive 3y. Well, negative 1 times 3y gives me a negative 3y. And so this expression actually becomes minus 4 minus 3y. Be very careful with your signs, right? Okay, let's move on to one a little bit more challenging. Here we have the 5x squared minus, again, this format that I want to get rid of parentheses. 2 on the outside and then stuff inside the parentheses. So I'm going to start this by just writing 5x squared. I can't really do anything with that right now. And I'm going to take this minus 2 and multiply it by the x. So minus 2 times the x gives me a minus 2x. Do you notice how I actually multiply the entire number plus the sign? It's not just the number. Be very careful of that. So you're going to take the entire number, including the sign that you have there. So minus 2 times x gives me minus 2x. Minus 2 times a minus 3x squared. Well, minus and a minus being multiplied gives me a positive. And so minus 2 times 3x squared is the same as 6x squared, positive 6x squared. And so now I can put my like terms together. I see x squared and x squared can be put together to make 11x squared minus 2x. I can't combine that 2x and x squared. They have different powers, right? Great. Now let's look at one that's slightly more challenging and has a fraction on the outside. So when you have a fraction on the outside, remember, you can rewrite any number as a fraction by putting it over 1. So if I had the number 3 and I wanted to write it as a fraction, I can just write 3 over 1, right? It means the same thing. So when you have a fraction on the outside, what I want you to do is actually make each of your terms over 1. So it makes the multiplication a little bit more simple. Another trickier part with this one is I actually have 3 terms inside the parentheses. So you might be thinking, wait, Michelle, is the double rainbow now a triple rainbow? Yes, you're right. It becomes a triple rainbow. So let's work through a triple rainbow. We have 1/2 times x squared over 1. So 1/2 times x squared over 1 just gives me what? It really just gives me x squared over 2, right? Remember, multiplication is fun. You're just multiplying the numerators and the denominators. Now I have 1/2 times a minus 4x squared over 1. So again, 1/2 minus, so positive times a negative is a negative. 1/2 times 4x squared over 1 is the same as minus 4x squared over 2. And now the 4 and the 2 can simplify, right? 4 divided by 2 is the same as saying just 2, right? So I get x squared over 2 minus 2x squared. And here's my last one, 1/2 times 8x over 1. And what does that simplify down to? Well, that's the same as saying 8x over 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I just get 4x positive. So what did I do? I multiplied each of the terms. I didn't forget how to do my multiplication with fractions, right? But the key really was to make sure you don't forget to do the triple rainbow and make sure you put all of your terms over 1 to help make the multiplication a little bit easier for you. Okay, as always, there's challenging problems in the practice section, so I will see you there, and looking forward to seeing you next time. Bye, guys.